Well, howdy there, you all pardoners and stuff. That's my really bad, I don't know what type of accent that is. It's just inspired by Western stuff, because today my video is about what may seem incongruously the 1973 Disney version of Robin Hood. Thing is, if you have seen this movie, and I hope you have because it's so much fun, especially for us Generation Xers who kind of grew up with it on video, this movie, they took the word outlaw and ran with it. There are so many voice actors from classic Western movies and television. Also singers, Alan Adale obviously. In the movie, there's a very heavy Western influence. I had so much fun doing research for this one because I learned so much. This was really, you're gonna learn some cool stuff that you did not know. I know I certainly did. I was going, what really? That was that person? And they did all that stuff? It's really cool, really cool. So we're gonna get right to it here. And I can't wait. This is one of my favorite Disneys growing up, and I think it was a lot of people's too. And yes, I had a crush on the fox. Who didn't with that voice? Oh my goodness. Brian Bedford, you fellow, yeah. Speaking of Brian Bedford, let's get going right into it. Let's start with the man himself, or the fox himself as it were, Robin Hood, voiced by Brian Bedford, born 1935 in Morley, West Yorkshire. He attended the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art at the same time as Peter O'Toole, Albert Finney, and Alan Bates, an actor in and director of Shakespeare productions, no surprise there, and nominated for no less than 7 Tonys with 1 win. He did mostly do stage work, but he appeared in the films Grand Prix, Nixon, Mr. St. Nick, and the series Coronet Blue. He also did brief appearances on Cheers and Frasier. In 2013, at age 77, he was finally able to legally marry his partner, Tim McDonald. And then he died 3 years later of cancer. Little John, voiced by Phil Harris, born 1904 in Linton, Indiana. A lot of people nowadays don't really realize how big a deal Phil Harris was back in the day. His first name, I did not know this, is actually Wonga, said to derive from a Cherokee word meaning fast messenger. He was a fixture of the American entertainment scene through the late 30s, 1940s, and early 1950s at the very least. He was an actor, a band leader, singer, and all-around entertainer. Since he grew up in Tennessee, he self-identified as a Southerner, and his trademark song was "That's What I Like About the South." He started his career as a drummer and quickly formed a band of his own, moving to Los Angeles in 1932 and getting hired for the massively popular Jack Benny radio program in 1936. 10 years later, he and his wife, movie star Alice Faye, this was the second marriage for both, began hosting the Fitch Bandwagon radio show, which later became known as the Phil Harris-Alice Faye Show. Although he appeared here and there in film and television episodes, he is best known today for his various Disney voice appearances, which also include Baloo in The Jungle Book and Thomas O'Malley in The Aristocats. He passed away in 1995 from a heart attack. Maid Marian, Monica Evans, born 1940 in London. She began her career on stage and starred in a British television soap opera called Compact. She portrayed Cecily Pigeon in The Odd Couple, first in the Broadway stage run, then in the film, and in a few episodes of the television adaptation. Interestingly, her character's sister, Gwendolyn Pigeon, was portrayed by Shelly, who also joined her when they voiced Amelia and Abigail Gabble in The Aristocats, and in Robin Hood when Shelly voiced Lady Cluck. Evans was also Shelly's maid of honor at her 1967 wedding. As of this video, Evans is still alive and kicking, but has retired from acting. Prince John/King Richard, Peter Ustinov, born 1921 in London. He also began on stage, becoming proficient at various accents, and served as a private in the British Army during World War II, also being appointed as Batman, as it was a different thing, an actual job, to David Niven, and appearing in propaganda films. It was during the war he began writing as well, creating such plays as Romanoff and Juliet, and The Love of Four Colonels. After the war, his film career really took off, with his being cast as Nero in Quo Vadis. I have seen it. He is perfect. Edwin Fairfax Vere in Billy Budd, and Captain Blackbeard in Blackbeard's Ghost. He earned an Academy Award for his roles in Top Cappy, I haven't seen it, and I've never known how to pronounce that, and Spartacus, and portrayed Hercule Poirot for no less than 6 times. He also won 3 Emmys, 1 Grammy, was nominated for 2 Tonys, directed several operas, spoke 6 languages fluently, was president of the World Federalist Movement for 13 years, and in 2002 went to Berlin on a UNICEF peace mission, and I am exhausted just from reading all that. Apparently he finally was exhausted too, as in 2004 he passed away from heart failure. Sheriff of Nottingham was portrayed by Pat Buttram, born 1915 in Addison, Alabama. He went to college to study for the Methodist ministry, but stints in college plays and at the local radio station led to his regular appearances on the National Barn Dance Show out of Chicago. In the 40s, he went to Hollywood, first being cast as sidekick to Roy Rogers, but after being dropped by Rogers, he was picked up by Gene Autry, appearing in over 40 of Autry's films, and later also as a regular on Autry's television show. In the 60s, he became a regular on Green Acres. Other Disney films include The Aristocats, The Rescuers, The Fox and the Hound, and a brief cameo as a bullet in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He also popped in for a bit part in Back to the Future 3. He passed away in 1994 of kidney failure. Sir Hiss, Terry Thomas, born Thomas Terry Hoare Stevens, 1911 in London. He debuted in a small role in 1933's The Private Life of Henry VIII. His service in World War II shows helped him to refine his stage presence, which led to appearances on the London stage and heading the first British comedy television series, How Do You View? He also began appearing on both radio and film. In the early 60s, he transferred to American films, such as It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, Tom Thumb, and How to Murder Your Wife. After this, he moved on more into European film, but in 1971 he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, which interfered with his work and finally ended it for good in 1980. He then passed away in 1990. Friar Tuck, Andy Devine, born 1905 in what was then the territory of Arizona. He played football at Santa Clara University, which helped lead to his first major film role in The Spirit of Notre Dame. As with Buttram and so many of these, he was another Western fixture, appearing in 10 films as Roy Rogers' sidekick, along with the film Stagecoach and The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. But he also showed up in many a mainstream film, such as Romeo and Juliet, A Star is Born, and The Red Badge of Courage. He was a regular guest on the Jack Benny radio program, where he was frequently referred to as the Mayor of Van Nuys. This is because Devine, who lived in Van Nuys until 1957, was in fact the honorary mayor of that town. He was also a pilot and trained flyers for the government during World War II. He passed away in 1977 of leukemia. Lady Cluck, as mentioned, Carol Shelly, born 1939 in London. She also appeared in The Odd Couple, which was her Broadway debut. In the 1970s, she worked on extending her acting range, appearing on stage in As You Like It, The Elephant Man, and winning a Tony for Absurd Person Singular. When Wicked premiered as a show in 2003, she originated the role of... I haven't seen it. Madame Moribla? I'm sure you all know how to pronounce it, sorry. She also was Grandma in the 2008 Broadway run of Billy Elliot. Her television and film appearances include The Boston Strangler, The Road to Wellville, and the 2005 film of Bewitched. Other Disney roles include, as mentioned, The Aristocats and Hercules. Her final appearance was in the John Mulaney special Kid Gorgeous. She passed away in 2018 at age 79. Trigger. George Lindsay, born 1928 in Fairfield, Alabama. He attended military school and teachers college, majoring in biology and physical education. He was a quarterback and appeared in college plays. After college, he enlisted in the Air Force. Then he taught high school for 1 year until his acceptance by the American Theater Wing in 1956. He appeared in several Broadway shows, including Wonderful Town, an adaptation of the popular book series My Sister Eileen, then moved to Los Angeles in 1962. Parts in many television episodes followed, before his casting as Goober Pyle on The Andy Griffith Show. He also showed up in the films Ensign Pulver, Snowball Express, and Cannonball Run 2. Other animated Disney work includes The Aristocats and The Rescuers. He sponsored the George Lindsay Celebrity Weekend and Golf Tournament for 17 years, raising over $1 million for the Alabama Special Olympics. He also established the George Lindsay Academic Scholarships and the George Lindsay/UNA Film Festival, both at the University of North Alabama. He passed away in 2012. Nutsy. Nutsy was played by Ken Curtis, born Curtis Wayne Gates in 1916, Lamar, Colorado. He was also a quarterback, so many footballers, on his high school football team, and he served in World War II. A clarinetist and singer, he went to college for medicine, but left to pursue music. Originally, he replaced Frank Sinatra as singer with the Tommy Dorsey Band, but then he was in turn replaced by Dick Haymes, so Curtis joined Shep Fields instead. He hosted the country music radio show WWVA Jamboree. He also sang with the group Sons of the Pioneers, whose hits included Riders in the Sky. In 1945, he was signed by Columbia Pictures, largely playing singing cowboy romantic leads. Some movies he was in include The Searchers, The Quiet Man, and How the West Was Won. In television, he was popular on Gunsmoke as regular Festus Hagen, where he developed the accent used as Nutsy, and later on he was in the television version of The Heat of the Night. He died in 1991 of a heart attack. Alan Adale was Roger Miller, born 1936 in Fort Worth, Texas. As a child, Miller's interest in songwriting was nurtured by his cousin's husband, Sheb Wooley, best known today as the writer of Purple People Eater. After a stint in the Army, Miller found his way to Nashville, where he eventually found work playing fiddle for Minnie Pearl's band. His career as a songwriter took off in the late 50s, with his penning hits such as Billy Bayou, and soon after he began his own recording career. Songs he is known for recording today are Husbands and Wives, Old Friends with Willie Nelson, and King of the Road. For Robin Hood, he wrote the songs Oodalali, Not in Nottingham, and the earworm Whistle Stop, later sampled for the internet sensation Hamster Dance. In the mid-'80s, his Broadway musical Big River, based on the adventures of Huckleberry Finn, garnered 7 Tony Awards, and he even took over the role of Huck's father after John Goodman left for Hollywood. He passed away in 1992 from lung cancer. Otto was J. Pat O'Malley, born 1904 in Lancashire, England. This one is just a brief rundown, as I covered O'Malley previously in my Alice in Wonderland video. A talented stage and screen actor, O'Malley appeared in Lassie Come Home, Witness for the Prosecution, and The Long Hot Summer. Other Disney voice work besides Alice includes The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad as Cyril Proudbottom, Mary Poppins as More Than I Thought. He was the Bloodhound, the Master of Hounds, Hunting Horse 2, Pearly Drummer, Pearly Tambourinist, Penguin Waiter, Photographer, and Reporter Number 2. And to top it all off, he was in 101 Dalmatians as Jasper Batten, the Colonel, Simpkins, and the Mechanic. He passed away in 1985 of cardiovascular disease. Mother Rabbit and the Mother Church Mouse. This was Barbara Luddy, born either 1907 or 1908 in Helena, Montana. A child vaudeville veteran, she went through convent school and then joined a touring company for a show in Australia. She was a regular radio performer on the First Nighter program and the Chicago Theater of the Air. Largely active in silent movies, her film appearances include An Enemy of Men, Rose of the World, and Her Secret. For Disney, her voice work includes Lady and the Tramp as Lady, Sleeping Beauty as Merryweather, 101 Dalmatians as a Dalmatian named Rover. I don't remember that one, but that's what the internet said, so. And 3 separate Winnie the Pooh outings, which were later edited into one movie, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, all as Kanga. She passed away in 1970 of lung cancer. On to the kids. Skippy Rabbit was Billy Whitaker, born 1964 in Los Angeles. Sadly, there is very little information about the voice of this important little bunny who we all love. His other credits are solely The Story of Heidi and The World Through the Eyes of Children, both from 1975. His older brother Johnny had a far more eventful career, but it either doesn't seem to have taken off for Billy, or he decided to pursue other interests. Sis Rabbit was Dana Lorita, born 1964 in Los Angeles. Dana was a little busier than Billy, appearing in various television episodes and in the films Demon Seed and The Goodbye Girl. She was the original choice to voice Penny in The Rescuers before the role was recast for unknown reasons. Tagalong Rabbit was Dory Whitaker, born 1967 in Los Angeles. Sister to Billy Whitaker, she appeared in several television episodes, including Adam 12 and Marcus Welby, MD, and she originated the voice of Baby Roo. Toby the Turtle was voiced by Richie Sanders, and I can find absolutely nothing about him. It's a shame considering this little turtle guy stole our childhood hearts by being just absolutely all of us, or, well, okay, most of us. Maybe it was just me. If anyone knows anything about him, please do let me know. Father Sexton was voiced by John Fiedler, born 1925 in Platteville, Wisconsin. After a stint in the Navy, he moved to New York City and attended the acting school Neighborhood Playhouse, along with Tony Randall, James Doohan, Leslie Nielsen, and Joanne Woodward. A regular on, I believe it was the television version of The Aldrich Family, as Homer Brown, he then showed up in the television show Tom Corbett Space Cadet. He was part of the original Broadway cast of A Raisin in the Sun, and appeared in featured roles in films 12 Angry Men, Sweet Smell of Success, and the film adaptation of A Raisin in the Sun. Disney fans will also recognize his voice work in The Rescuers, The Fox and the Hound, and The Emperor's New Groove. But most notably as Piglet in all the Winnie the Pooh voiceover work until his death in 2005 from cancer. And last but of course never the least, we have the Captain of the Guard, voiced by Candy Candido, born Jonathan Joseph Candido in 1913 in New Orleans. This man was capable of speaking in 4 octaves, able to go from tenor to falsetto to bass in one sentence. He was a bass player and a vocalist for several bands. His film career includes the musical Roberta, which I have seen, and honestly, I've always wondered if this was that guy. He was in The Wizard of Oz as a cranky apple tree, and Only Angels Have Wings. Other Disney voice work includes Peter Pan as the more or less Native American chief, Sleeping Beauty as one of Maleficent's henchmen, and the Great Mouse Detective as Fidget. He died of natural causes in 1999. So, oh my gosh, that is all the voices I could find info on, but how cool is that, right? I was so amazed at how many people were not related, but related by career and did all this cool stuff. It was really, this was a fun dive into a bit of film history, I thought. I hope you thought so too. So I can't wait to do more of these. If you haven't watched my Alice in Wonderland video, go back and watch that too, because that one was pretty interesting as well, I thought. Yeah, I can't wait to do more deep dives. I've seen lots of videos on the voice actors on YouTube, but they don't really go into who the people were, and I don't know, maybe it's just me. I like learning more about the people, so that's how my videos are gonna be. I won't make another one right away, but I will make one at some point, I promise you. Let me know down in the comments if you have any favorites where you'd like to learn more about the voice people. Next week, I don't know what my video is going to be. Well, I think I know what my video is going to be. Okay, I'm just not going to tell you what my video is going to be. You're going to find out. Until then, I will go and do my research and my work and try and get that beebity-bap-beebidobo out of my head. And I hope you will take care of yourselves and each other. And I will see you then. Have a good one. Bye.